Welcome to Grateful to Be Able, where community meets conversation. Today, we're honored to sit down with Mayor Brad Rachford, the leader of our city, to talk about local challenges, community goals, and exciting future ahead. Whether you're a lifelong resident or new to the town, this episode gives you a front row seat to what's happening right here in your town, McEwen. So welcome, Brad. Thank you for coming today, or we came to you today, actually. So thank you for agreeing to meet with us. Could you tell a little bit about your background and what inspired you to run for mayor?
Sure. Well, of course, I grew up here, in the community and proud to have lived here and plan to continue to do so. I saw my background. Of course, I was raised, my dad had run a business, his entire life. And so I was raised around, business and business management. And I saw the need for, long-term planning and cities and municipalities and county governments run like a business. So I thought I could, extend my experience to the city.
What does a typical day in your role look like?
I typically start out with our department heads. They're very capable folks, and we come in and meet, in the mornings in case they have questions, and we guide those folks and get them started on their day. After that, typically, as like today, I have another meeting at 2:00. We'll meet about various things. Today, it's over emergency services, but it may be city engineers about our infrastructure, water, sewer infrastructure, and then in between meetings and things like that, I just take phone calls about various problems that may arise throughout the day if they need help.
So you mentioned meeting with your department heads. How many do you have?
So we have three. We have a public works director. We have a water and sewer superintendent that's over actual operations of the plant, and then have the chief of police.
Okay.
And then, of course, by four, we make Miss Vicky the city recorder. She's over the personnel inside the city hall there. So.
Okay. What part of your job brings you the most joy?
I think seeing longer term goals come to light. You put a lot of effort in. Day-to-day decisions are they are what they are. They're operational.
Right.
But when we plan things and we envision things that are going to come into play 2 or 3 or 4 years down the road, and you start seeing those things come to the surface, that makes me proud. It makes you know that the vision and the effort you put in is working.
Right. It's a good feeling, isn't it?
It is. Just.
So let's talk a little bit about the city highlights and challenges. What recent city projects or achievements are you especially proud of?
So we just completed another sewer rehab project. It was about $1.2 million. It come in under budget, which allowed us a few $100,000 to do additional work that we were not counting on. Those are grants that are afforded to us through state and federal funding. We also are proud of the industrial park expansion. Now that's not in the city limits, but we played a support role to the county mayor in providing our infrastructure, water, sewer specifically, to allow those expansions out there to more local jobs for people that live here. And of course, as many of you may know and be happy about, we've completed paving, which we haven't been able to do in a long time.
That's
so
great.
We just completed another couple miles of paving, and we're proud.
Yeah, we're proud of that too. Sure. On our road. So,
sure. Yes, ma'am.
What do you think are the top challenges that are facing our community right now?
So, I go back to the infrastructure. A lot of our infrastructure, water and sewer pipes, road, were put in 50, 60 years ago. It takes a lot of money to rehab those. As you can imagine, they cost a lot more to put in now than they did then. And there's so many miles of it, and it's something that we have to stay on top of. We also, our fire equipment, those trucks are very expensive. They're important to have. As those age out, that goes back to the long-term planning. We have to plan to replace those. It can affect people's everyday lives, just like homeowners insurance. Our fire equipment affects ISO ratings, which can affect what you pay for insurance. So a lot of variables that folks may not think about, but
Right.
we try to keep keep all the boxes checked. And
We don't think about that, as just a city member, we don't think about things like that. So how do you and your team approach big decisions that affect residents?
um, I try not to, lots of input from. You're only as good as the people around you, right? And so, whether that's input from city engineers, department heads. I seek advice from other mayors. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Lots of
Right.
people have been in our positions that we get in, so I'm fast to reach out to those people, and they're great to help. We seek out advice of accountants. We get rate studies done, to make sure we're going to, be and stay in compliance. We operate on 5-year plans, and I like to redo them at about year 3 just to make sure we're tracking,
Okay.
re-up it. So we don't. I try not to knee-jerk react. I want input from people.
And that's great. That's with
valuable.
anything, though, right?
Sure.
You are what the people around you give to you. You are that, representation for that. So that is great. Let's talk about community involvement. How can residents stay involved or make their voices heard?
So the best way is, stay informed, and we have 5 city aldermen or alderwomen. We have 2 ladies on our board. And I think sometimes, people may forget to reach out to those folks. Lots of times people call me direct, and I have no problems with that. But those people are the voice for their particular ward, and those people that the aldermen and alder ladies, they actually cast votes on the policy. I do day-to-day operations. Manage day-to-day operations. But when we were talking about policy change, ordinance changes, those people, they vote on those topics, and so I only cast a vote at a meeting if there's a tie. And in 6 years, I've never cast a tiebreaker vote.
Can I get that information before we leave and link that to this where they have their representative? Because a lot of people may not know who they are and have their information to contact.
Absolutely. It's on our city website, cityofmcEwen.com.
I'll make sure I get that.
We have that. And there's lots of information on there in regards to that, when our meetings are. And again, people are welcome to reach out to me, but if they attend the meetings or go to, reach out to their representative, that's a good direct way to have their
That's
voice
the reason we have those.
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
What partnerships with schools, local organizations, or businesses are you most excited about?
I like to help our youth sports. Of course, we have the junior pro football field that we maintain, and we've been able to make additions to the park. We support school athletics. Whether it's softball, agriculture, or soccer, practice football field, we've lended a hand in helping get
and
water.
You're involved in that as well, just on your own, right?
I am. I do. I help my dad coach the high school baseball team, and so we're proud to. Those kids need to have a place that they're proud to play. We don't want them to go to a visiting team's facilities and then come back and feel inferior about ours. And so I believe in keeping things nice. And again, making them proud to host a game at their home field.
I agree with that. How do you stay connected to the needs of different neighborhoods, or are there different needs for different neighborhoods?
Some, if our city personnel, from policemen to public works, and again, I go back to the aldermen. They report to us if they have problems in their zones, and that does happen from time to time. I have someone at a meeting say, "Have someone's reached out to me, and I've got a culvert stopped up." Or if our city personnel, I believe in being proactive. Our employees know that. If we see a problem, even before someone says something about it, we want to fix it, because the earlier you can fix it, it's usually the cheaper it is to fix. So we try to be proactive and staying on that, and so that's largely how we try to get ahead of things.
Okay. So let's talk about looking ahead. Are there any exciting new developments or plans that you'd like to share that's coming in the works that you know of?
For about 2.5 years now, we've had the Irish Commons subdivision in our planning and zoning. It's been through all state hurdles, and it does have final approval now. They're actually working on site. That's an out-of-town developer that's coming in here. He was excited to come, and like I said, it was about a 2.5 year process to get those things approved. That'll be important to our city and the businesses here and in the schools. And there's also a development coming on Sheehy Road, which again is not in the city, but those things affect the city, because this is where people are going to come to shop and play and do business. And then again, I think that's going to be about 55 larger tracks. I think maybe 5-acre tracks coming there. And then you've got, again, I go back to the industrial park development. And again, those last two I mentioned are not in the city, but they do directly impact the city.
Sure they do.
So we are proud to have those.
What's your vision for the future of our city over the next, say, 5 or 10 years?
I would say, steady and measurable growth. It's my opinion that you can't remain idle. We can, if you're not growing some, you're going to slide backwards. It takes, we all have received cost of living adjustments at various jobs you've had. Well, these businesses have to give those, and their insurance goes up each year, and things cost them more money. So, we have to have some measurable growth so that our businesses can thrive. And so I want to continue to improve our infrastructure. As I said, that's a work in progress. It's not something that can be done overnight. You're talking about 10 and 15 years, and even more down the road. But that's kind of what we focus on is the next 10 years when we're laying out projects. So you
mentioned the word growth. I think a lot of times with small towns, with growth comes fear.
It does.
And I hear a lot of it, and you hear a lot of it. But how do we let people know that growth isn't going to take over our little town? It's going to help all of us, benefit us.
Sure. So, we have, you hear people say, well, I don't want to be Dixon. We don't have the infrastructure outside the municipal limits to grow to that size.
Right.
A lot of the growth that we're seeing we're filling in on existing infrastructure, which helps offset the cost for citizens that already live here.
Right.
You take a vacant piece of land, it's not paying hardly any taxes, and a structure gets put on it. Well, that helps the city, keep our costs down. And we're not in a position where we're going to be. We're not going to grow to a size that we just don't have that type of infrastructure out there. Dixon has city water all over the county, and we do not have that, and probably won't. Years down the road, would our water system ever connect to a neighboring water system? Possibly, but right now that's just not where we are.
Okay, so some closing questions for you. What's something that people might not realize about being a mayor?
Probably the amount of time it takes to do it.
But you have a life?
Sure. It's even I had been in and around city business before I chose to take this on, and even there were things that I didn't know or didn't see until you got into it. But to do the job and to do it the way that you should do it and not just hold the title.
Right.
It consumes a lot of time.
Has to be you, right?
That's right. And there are no boundaries on that. It's not 9 to 5. It's 9 at night and 5:30 in the morning, and whenever a need arises.
And I'm guilty of that. Saying, "Hey, Brad," texting Brad, and he usually gets right back to me.
No, that's okay. It's just part of it. And but I would say that's probably something that again I didn't even realize as close as I had been to the office prior to having it.
So how can residents contact your office or stay up to date on our local news?
Reaching out to City Hall during normal hours. Those ladies are good to give out information or get hold of me. We have a city Facebook page. We try our best to post updates on there if we have something going on. If we have a water outage. I'm not a big social media guy, as we've talked about before. I'm not active on there.
It's probably a good thing.
But we have city personnel that do monitor that. as far as reaching me, it's better on the phone.
And we'll try to link that up to this video. Do you have any final thoughts or words of encouragement for our listeners?
I do. I would say that no matter what your views are on various topics, I would like for folks to keep in mind that we, as I mentioned, I live here, my family lives here. We all want the best for our community. As we make decisions, and I say we because it's not just me, it's our team of people. As we make decisions, you can make a decision today that may satisfy one group of people. Tomorrow you make another decision that the group that was happy, they're upset. And so, but just know that every decision that's made, we try to put a lot of thought into it, as I've mentioned previously. And we try to make decisions that are going to put us in better shape tomorrow than we were yesterday. And so we all should have a common goal of wanting our city to thrive and be the best that it can be.
And like anything else, school or anything else, we need to work together, as one, just to make us better, not to go backwards. So we want to thank you, Brad, for joining us today. Your leadership and insight help us all feel more connected to our little town. So we thank you for that. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow and share with your neighbors. This is Amy Mullenix and Tammy Wright's behind the camera with your podcast, Grateful to Be Able. Thanks for listening today and stay engaged in your community. Thank you.